Welcome to One Season Wonder, the podcast where we break down TV's greatest one-season wonders, one episode at a time. This week we're diving into Firefly's Ariel, an episode that's got hospital heists, double crosses, and more blue gloves than you can shake a sonic device at. I'm Talon.
I'm Jamison.
We're doing that joke again?
Did I do it already?
Oh my god! Wow.
Oh, I thought I'd be
Dory.
You don't remember that joke at all?
How many times have I done it?
Once.
Okay, good. It's not multiple times.
Would you like to talk about Galaxy Quest real quick?
Yeah.
That comes later in the episode.
Okay.
Off to a good start. There's no mermaids in this episode, though. I was gonna say that, but
Mermaids?
it's called Ariel.
Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Have you seen that movie?
I've seen that movie. I thought I'd talked about mermaids before. I was like, anything I say, I didn't mean it.
Lord.
I'm Christopher.
Alright. Okay. So anyways, the opening scene, they're all in like the kitchen area or whatever, eating, playing games. Simon's trying to get River to eat. She doesn't want to eat. Wash and Zoe come in and they're talking about like, I guess, a date that they like want to be able to kind of like break free for a little bit.
does.
Yeah, he does. On a central planet that they landed on, which they landed on this planet because Anara has to go get annual physical.
Yeah.
Zoe doesn't really want anything to do with the planet because she knows that it's not a good planet, technically, I guess, for them to be on.
Yeah, she's worried about central planets because most central planets are filled with Alliance people and there's a lot of security, a lot of eyes on them. She doesn't want to deal with it. So she doesn't want to go anywhere near getting off the ship.
Yeah. Then Mal walks in and he's like, yeah, none of us are getting off this ship. Like, we're just here for Nara. Somebody asked her how long Nara would take, kind of thing.
I did think it was interesting that Mal would base a whole trip off of Nara.
Well, he has to. She's
Right.
part of the ship, and if she has to get these yearly checkups,
Yeah, it's money for
he kind of
him.
has no choice. Yeah.
I guess that's true.
Yeah, he has to do
If
it.
she loses her registration, he loses money. Plus, he cares about everybody on the crew. I mean, she's considered part of the crew. He's going to do what she needs to do.
So amongst like just conversations here and there about them all talking about like them being on this planet and how long they're going to be there and why certain people don't like it and some in Wash doesn't care, like he just wants to go on.
Food smells like crotch.
Yeah, well,
That's
that's what I was
funny.
gonna say.
Oh.
Jayne kind of starts like making like little comments here and there, and I guess that's what kind of provoked
Yeah, I wasn't sure.
the situation that happens next.
Well, because he was also cleaning his gun, and then he
Mhm.
cleaned his knife, which
he licked.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah, I'm like,
And then-
Dangerous.
then he spit on it, and he's sitting next to Simon, and Simon is like, "Can you not do that?"
oh yeah, do that while we're
eating?"
trying to eat. Yeah,
And I didn't know because I questioned that too. Did she see the knife and thought, "Ooh, knives," or did River not like that it was bothering Simon, and so she
so
decided?
don't say it because I just thought about it too.
Yeah, I have a
Because I think we can talk about
idea.
it later.
I guess we could tag.
I say wait.
if you don't want to
until
give it
later.
away.
I don't want to give anything away, but I feel
Okay.
like what ends up happening is that River out of nowhere grabs a knife and attacks Jayne,
Yeah.
slashes him across the chest, and Jayne immediately reacts and like backhands the
Oh, yeah.
fuck out of her.
That was like a 60s backhand where
Yeah.
Yeah. So then, of course, like chaos ensued, and everybody's like, "What the fuck?" Right? I have an idea as to why she probably did it. Now that we're talking about it, but
I
I'll
have
talk
an
about
idea
that
as well.
later. But I, think it
we're
has
on
to
the
do with her
same-
psychic ability thing.
Yeah, that's what I think as well.
So we'll get to that point.
Yeah.
You think she knows that far in advance? Because we
Yeah.
had that discussion.
I think she does.
I don't think it's that far in advance though, because he knew what he was doing.
I don't think he made that decision until that happened.
Well, so that's part of my opinion, because have y'all seen the movie?
You have, but don't remember it.
The
Just remember it.
Butterfly Effect.
Oh, I thought you meant the movie Surrender.
No, yeah. The Butterfly Effect. It's a great
Right,
movie,
I
but
saw
it's
that.
like
We'll
cause
talk
and
about it
effect.
later, because
Yeah.
we'll talk about it later.
Okay.
No
Um,
spoilers.
huh?
No spoilers.
Yeah, I don't want to give too much away because there's a lot that happens in this episode. So anyways, then it cuts to obviously Jayne in like the exam room. Simon's stitching him up. He's trying to convince Mal to throw her out. He's like, fuck that bitch. It's crazy. Why are we still dragging them around? Like, there's obviously it's an issue to keep having them around, and she's getting worse.
It'd be like Booter. She literally tried to stab me.
Yeah, right. And Mal is like, no, like, all these people are a part of the team. I brought them on. They're staying. And Jayne's like, you owe me a t-shirt, and fucking walks out because he's pissed off.
Thought that was kind of funny.
Yeah, and then Mal lays down some ground rules with Simon. She needs to stay in a room. She needs to be monitored all the time. If she's going from one place to another, like, I need to know about it. Like, all that stuff. Just so he can, like, try to keep things at bay as much as possible.
Tell me if this was just me. Was it a lot of, like, close-ups this episode? Like, I remember that scene. They were there.
Yeah.
I was like, we could back up just a little bit.
It's all part about, like...
He also reiterated, though, that we had a deal that you stay here, you would have to keep your sister in check. If you can't do that, we're going to have to renegotiate.
Right.
But at the same time, yeah, Mal still wants to obviously give him the opportunity to, like, keep him and make it work.
Mal's the type that once you are in the crew and you're on the crew and you're part of the crew, you've got to do something obviously really bad to get out of the crew.
Right.
Well, that plus he's very valuable. He's a doctor.
Oh yeah.
Like, that is true.
The shit that they've gone through, they've already used him.
Yeah, they can't get rid of
her.
They
use him like practically every episode.
They can't get rid of her without getting rid of him
too.
Right.
So she's the package deal. I mean, it's a package deal.
Yeah, it is. All right, so then it goes to the ship landing on the planet. Kaylee is saying goodbye to Inara, and the crew is playing like shoes, and they're just talking amongst themselves about the whole thing about them being at that planet and them not getting work out of it, kind of thing. And I think it's mostly like Jayne.
Yeah, Jayne's like, we haven't had work in 3 months, and we're on a planet where we could go and try to find work. And,
and we're just not. So they're just kind of bickering back and forth about it. And then Simon comes in out of nowhere, and he's like, we do have a client, actually. And they're like, what? And he's like, it's me. And they're like, what?
Uno reverse.
So then Simon goes on to explain. He kind of pulls out like meds that he had already on hand from like the original med kit that he brought onto the ship, and he's going through and like tossing it out to everybody, and it's like, oh, this is worth this much, this is worth this much, this is worth this much, and they're like, okay. And he's like, we're in a place where we could go in, get a bunch of this medicine that we can then resell and make a bunch of money, but in return, I need you to get me and River inside so that I can examine her further, so I can figure out what it is that they did to her and hopefully help her.
The brain scan thing.
Yeah, he essentially wants to do a brain scan on her so that he can figure out what the fuck happened to her.
Which, fucking, if Mal was a more, like, direct leader, like he was, because he has a soft spot, but directness says, well, no, we'll just go get the medicine and make the money. You're having a little, like, side mission right now. It's making it more complicated. But he just didn't even question it. He's just like, yeah, sure. Whatever.
Well, the only thing is, I guess he could have done it afterwards. The only way he's going to get the know-how to get in there and do that is if he does what Simon wants him to do. Now, of course, once Simon gives him that knowledge, he could do anything he wants to then. But he's not that kind of guy.
Yeah. It goes back to him and like his crew being his crew.
A soft spot.
In the next scene, it kind of shows like the information that Simon does know. He obviously needs in order to perform the mission anyway.
I really liked this montage because basically it was showing what everybody had to do while he's speaking over top of it. It had very much an Ocean's 11 feel to it, where they're all getting ready to figure out. You see Jayne going into town and doing the secret maneuver, like you put something in, and some guy comes and drops off some bags and grabs the stuff, and those are like, I'm guessing their EMT gear. And
it was like their disguises.
Yeah, and all the while Simon's saying, okay, we need to do this and we need to do that. And
they had to Simon tells them the whole plan. Like, we have to make it look like we're meant to be there. We have to know what we're talking about. We have to talk the way that they talk. We have to look the way that they look. The biggest thing about like them building a whole ship is the fact that it was their way of getting into like the hospital area.
Oh yeah. When they're building this was in the IMDb thing, the part where they're building the ambulance thing, there's a scene where like Wash like laughs and throws a part.
Right.
I had no idea what that was. It was the part they needed the last episode.
I could tell when I looked, I was like, I think that's the part.
I thought that was hilarious.
That's why I laughed. That's
like,
funny.
Oh, that's fucking gold. Like, way to go for them for sneaking that in. And for Wash to be like, oh, wait.
They should have taken it with them.
Right. Yeah, just in case. I didn't know that was that part, but I thought, God, it was a lot like that part.
Yeah. That was in the notes. It's like, that was the part they needed to survive. And the motherfucker just throws it. It's like, oh, solid.
Yeah, I missed
Don't
that
get
one.
in that trouble again.
What would have been funny is if this episode had aired before that episode and he had thrown it and they had it the whole time. That would have been really funny.
So I'm pretty sure, I could be lying. I want to say that this is the point in the season where the episodes catch up to each other, and like that episode is after this one, I think.
What do you mean?
So you know how Fox reordered everything,
I think they just reordered the first one.
but it affects everything.
Uh-huh.
And I'm pretty sure this episode was where it flip flops.
Oh, so Out of Gas was after this episode?
I might be wrong, but I'm pretty sure. And I don't remember. But
Are we shocked?
fact check me.
Okay.
But I think I'm right. I would go 60-40, I'm correct.
Okay.
A note that I had kind of in the mix of all of that, I think maybe it was Mal that said something. And he was like, well, you guys are fugitives, so like, how are you guys just gonna like waltz in, right? Simon's like, oh, through the front door, no problem, right? And I put in here, I was like, it's funny how Simon, leading up till this point, has always been so fucking nervous about the Alliance. Any bit of like, oh, we might be close to them. Oh, we might come in contact with them because we're here. Now we're on a central planet about to waltz into like a whole hospital full of them. And he's like, through the front door, we'll be good.
Well, he's got that big goal of figuring out his
Right.
sister's shit.
Yeah, in this episode, he grows some balls quite a bit. And I think it's because he like is very much on a mission. I think he probably appreciates where he's at now with this crew and he doesn't want to fuck it up, I feel like, almost in a way.
Mm-hmm.
And then he made this whole plan in his head, so he's like, execute, you know. He's going.
Well, there's another scene later where he also has some balls.
Oh yeah, I wrote that down too.
Oh yeah. That's where I have the balls as well.
So yeah.
Yeah.
Lots of balls in this episode.
We all have some balls.
Balls in your face the whole time.
Close up.
Yeah, really. Anyway, so then it cuts to the scene where they walk into the like area where Wash and Kaylee has built this like helicopter, more or less.
Side note. IMDb. It was actually a helicopter, a Russian helicopter, that they took the propellers off.
Yeah.
And they kept the cabin. That's why they said that Wash was on the second like bubble, and they filled the first one with rubber, just to make it like futuristic looking. But yeah, it was straight up like a Russian helicopter.
Huh. Well, there you go. Fun fact. So they walk in. Mal, Jayne, and Zoe like come out of the side of the helicopter in their whole little get-ups. And then it goes into like the scene of Simon running them through the whole scenario. This is what you're going to say. This is how you have to say it. And of course, the whole time, Mal, Zoe are kind of struggling with it. But of course, Jayne, having no fucking brain cells, he's like, what? So it kind of goes through that for a while of just the whole plan. They're going over it over and over and over again so that they get it right. They were talking about, they brought up, how are we going to get in? We need bodies or whatever. And Simon's like, oh yeah, we're going to be the corpse. And he's referring to him and River. Then cuts to a scene with him and River. And he explains to River, this is what's going to happen. I'm going to give you this medicine and we're going to go to sleep, kind of. And she, of course, then returns and says it all in like a really medical way, of course. Right. She's like, yeah, of course I know exactly what you're talking about. Boop, 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 boop. And like says it in like a bunch of big words. But she doesn't want to do it and she cries.
Puts her to sleep anyway.
Right. Yeah, and he's like, all right, well, it's time to go to sleep. Like she cries about it, but Simon's like, we have to do this. Yeah. Yeah. And I put in here, speaking of them being close up, again, the camera was very close up to their faces, and they were very close together.
Super close.
Per usual, weird relationship. So then it cuts to the ship heads in to execute the plan. So they land.
The ambulance thing.
Yeah, the helicopter. Yeah. Like they land on like a little helicopter pad. Everybody like comes out of the ship. They load like
they're like coffin pods.
They're like little coffin pods. Yeah.
Oh, so another fun fact. You know the turtle shells on cars?
Yeah.
It was a car brand that made those. Oh. Like they were in production at that time, and they got like samples, I guess. But yeah, it starts with a T. Thor. I don't remember. But it said car brand. They make like turtle shells, and
Yeah.
that's what they used. And I was like, oh, that's cool. I'm not gonna talk about that though. And here I am
Here we are.
with no information. I actually do think that was cool.
So yeah, they throw him onto like 2 stretchers. Wash stays with the ship while Zoe and Mal head into the
And Jayne.
hospital. Oh, and Jayne. I forgot
Yeah.
about him. So they all start to head in. They get to like they go through the front doors.
After they've rehearsed these lines, like
Jayne was hard
over and over.
Yeah, 'cause Jayne was still going through it.
Oh yeah, because he was nervous and he kept like saying it out loud.
Over again.
Right. And Mal walks up to the lady at the front desk and he goes to say the whole thing. Doesn't even get through anything, really. And she like takes out this little scanner, is like, boop, boop, take him to the morgue.
Go.
And and they're all like, and like Mal and Zoe kind of look at each other, and then Jayne,
who's really disappointed.
Because he wanted to say his line.
He was probably so proud of it too. He just blurts out what he was supposed to say.
We tried to do the thing and the thing.
Yeah, he just says it anyways.
And the lady looks at it, she's like,
She kind of like rolls his eyes, her eyes, and just like,
what are you doing?
yeah.
I just said, don't speak unless spoken to.
She didn't even say anything. She just kind of like looked at him and was like, whatever, and like went back to what she was doing. So, lady doesn't care, and they're like, well, I guess we're just going to the morgue, right? So they take off and like head to the morgue. So they bring River and Simon down to the morgue. They're all there. They give them the medicine to like wake them back up.
I have something to say about this. I want
me
to
too. Same thing. And Jamison did not notice. And I was like,
writing.
ew. And she went, what?
Who got it first?
That's not what I was going to say, I don't think.
I just thought it was odd that they gave it to Mal because they had to give him the shot to wake them back up, and Mal gave it to River first.
It was Jayne.
No.
Jayne gave it.
No, Mal did.
No, Mal did.
Mal gave it out.
Mal gave
Really?
Before they left, yeah.
Oh, then I'm
Mal
fucked
gave
up.
it to River
My bad.
first. I was like, I mean, they might come out in a few minutes, but it could be very different. Why give her the advantage? I mean, not that she isn't capable of just sitting still for a few minutes. Maybe.
Well, she's not.
Yeah.
But you're right. You're 100% right.
Simon first.
Do you think it was gross because it was the same needle?
Yes.
Yeah. Well, they're so close as it is.
Yeah. I don't even know.
But still, talk about fucking Dr. 101.
Yeah.
You don't share needles. I mean,
Well, the last episode you said you.
I'm not a doctor. But I fucking
But...
listen. I know that. Don't share needles. That's a naughty. Don't do that. So that, and yeah, I was like, ew. And you're like, what? I was like, we're not talking about it.
I was writing, so I guess
No, but
didn't pick up on it.
well, we don't talk about it. I was like,
I know.
we'll talk about it later. This is me criticizing you for not noticing that.
Anyway, Mal talks to Jayne and is like, hey, don't fuck anything up. Protect them, kind of whatever. Leaves Jayne with them in the morgue while him and Zoe head off to find the medicine that they're there to get.
Right.
So pretty much like immediately, like they leave, and right away Jayne is like, oh, let me be nosy and fucking walk around. Like that's what you think he's kind of doing.
I thought he was going to go get like a soda or something.
So it's funny because when he walked up to the thing, that's kind of almost what I thought he was doing as well. I'm like, is he going to fucking get like a snack right now? Like what the fuck?
Which would be good for his character. I could see that.
Right, I could totally see it.
But
So he walks up to like a door that he has to scan into, and
It's the telephone system thing.
oh, is that what I thought it was? Like,
Yeah.
okay,
But it's a video thing, but you
Yeah.
had to scan it, and then it had options to call and
yeah,
pick police.
got you, yeah,
guess they didn't have iPhones.
and
Yeah, they're way more advanced than
they're
that.
way more advanced than that. There's no phones in this show though.
No, I don't feel they all do.
They have like walkie-talkies and like
walkies.
communicate.
Well, how inconvenient is it to do anything from the phone and like a screen in the wall?
Well, if you know, like
That's how he has to call the
Inara,
police?
That's how Inara does her stuff.
Yeah,
she
that's
does it
how
on
she
the
does
little
everything.
computer thing. And
Why are these motherfuckers gone away from cell phones? I don't understand.
no, maybe the technology is too advanced for cell phones.
Or maybe they're too busy doing shit.
And you're out, way
Yeah.
out in different parts of space.
So put a cord on it like we did back in the...
The space?
No, I mean like a dial phone and a cord. If it's too much, you need to hook it up to something.
Hook one up. What are you talking about?
You're saying like they need a big processor or something, right?
Well,
Like
not
they need
necessarily
a-
a big process. I feel like it's just like the TVs. Like we discussed, they don't have televisions. They don't watch TV. That over there. Although
back over there.
Back over there, way back when in the galaxy.
way
far,
back
far away.
forward ahead. There's probably so much going on there that you have to do and
That's what
deal
I'm saying.
with. You
Like,
don't
they're
have time to be like playing video games on your phone or watching TV or any of that
Watching
kind of
YouTube
thing.
shorts.
Yeah, doing podcasts. No one has time for that.
Hello
Dude,
Kitty
that's
Island.
where the world is heading. Like, it's going to be nothing but information. They're going to all have it right there.
Well, if our world stays the way it is and nothing crazy happens, but in their world,
Well, then we can terraform our world.
well, it's basically almost like starting over. When you terraform a world, it looks like they're just like it's all frontier, like whatever. Until you get big cities and the bigger cities might have more stuff, but most of them are out in the middle of Gold Rush town.
I just find it very inconvenient to call the police and find the screen on the wall somewhere.
Well,
Instead
it's
of
only
police.
it's only just a communication through the hospital. It's like the hospital police.
So why not pull out your fucking...
Well, no, he contacted the Alliance. That was what the
Whatever.
Alliance
Let's
did.
get to it. Anyways, so Jayne walks up to the screen not to get a snack,
But to call the
police,
cop, the
which
fucking fuzz.
Then the fuzz, which
I'm
the
gonna guess the
Alliance
Alliance is
Marshal was
the police.
like comes to the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah. He's
That
like,
dude.
"Oh, you got the fugitives?" And Jayne's like, "Yeah, I got them." And he's like, "Sweet, you're about to become a really rich man." And Jayne's like, "Hell yeah!" And I wrote down in really big letters, "Fuck Jayne, I said it." Because I said it from the beginning. If we remember, you probably don't.
And I'm
But
going to
I-
argue with you. I don't care if you...
I said at the beginning that in some way I feel like Jayne's gonna try to fuck Mel over. I said it.
That's Mal. That's separate.
Well,
Yes, it does. And it does at the end.
Hold on. I thought the same thing that she's talking about because I knew she would bring it up because she brought it up from the first episode when Dobson offered him a bunch of money and he looked like he was thinking about it. And she said, I guarantee you at some point he's going to fuck over Mal if it's enough money.
My intuition is way too strong.
So, I'm
But-
not saying y'all are wrong.
Well, I'm not agreeing with her.
Oh, okay.
Okay. I think that, now, of course, Mal would feel like he's fucking him over. But I don't think Jayne took it as fucking over Mal. He was just getting rid of Simon and River, but in his mind, he wasn't doing anything to Mal.
But
it's the same thing.
But
he has enough money to do it, though. They offered him enough money to do
right, that's the thing, and it shows that Jayne is with the crew for I feel like a different reason than like say Zoe is, right? Jayne at any given moment, if someone's like, "Here's a shit ton of money," his loyalty out the fucking
He did it to his
window.
last crew. He did it to his
that's
Yeah,
what they
dude,
got
he
him.
was-
That's how they got him.
But his last crew didn't try to fucking kill him. This
Right.
lady cut him
How do you
straight.
know?
Yeah.
Well,
Although I
okay, babe.
Although I agree, I understand why Jayne did it. Absolutely.
100%.
Yeah.
This lady, because like you think about it, she cut him. She went 2 inches higher. She cut his throat. He's dead.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Which,
I guarantee
who
you, if it had
knows?
happened to Wash, Zoe would have kicked her little fucking ass. Absolutely.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And would have wanted her off as well. Because she wouldn't be able to trust, like, what the fuck?
Which he's justified in that.
Yeah.
Like,
I mean,
he cannot trust me. He literally just cut the shit out of me while I'm eating dinner.
I feel
or
like
cleaning
it's
my...
based on the situation because if she hadn't done that, he never would have called to turn them in. He already would have done it a long time ago.
I don't know, but he's always wanted them gone though. Since they
Yes, but he hasn't up until this point. He could have done it probably at any point in time and said, "Hey,
True.
we've got these people."
Yeah.
But because she did that, and he's like, "Fuck that! I'm not gonna live in a ship where we have nowhere to go and have this crazy bitch running around all over the place trying to kill people."
Yeah.
So that sparked him. I'm just gonna go ahead and take care of the problem because Mal isn't obviously doing it.
Right.
Yeah. But
And-
it's both sides. I feel like we're
Either way, I still I still
This
stand
is
on what I said.
where my comment from
I was
earlier
gonna
comes
bring it
into
up as
play.
well. Do you want me to go first or?
Good.
So when we were talking about River having the psychic ability and her thinking about it that far in advance, I feel like it wasn't that far in advance because if we also refer to like what we were just talking about Jayne kind of always wanting her gone, maybe she just got an overwhelming sense of how much like he really doesn't want her there. And in some way or another, she picked up on it and was like, you know what, fuck this guy.
Mhm.
And especially
Right.
like the little comments he was making too, and how he was like kind of bothering Simon And Simon made the whole comment
And
about, like,
it's
you know, hey, can we
self-fulfilling.
not do that while we're trying to eat? She just got fed up with it and was like, I kind of just know this guy doesn't want me around, so, like, fuck him.
But she made that comment also after it happened. He looks better in red.
Yeah.
And a lot of times,
That was kind of weird.
A lot of times her comments mean something, even if you don't know what the fuck they mean. They mean something.
Yeah.
So I don't know what that means, but when I watched it, I thought she was just pissed because he was fucking irritating her brother.
Right.
That's what I thought. But I didn't think that she thought that far in advance. Although I do, because I was thinking about what you said last time. We talked about her, because I often bring up, why doesn't she just say, oh, this is going to be whatever, like an out of gas? Like, why didn't she just have the premonition that, oh, we're going to be fine or whatever? But something happened, something comes up in this episode that might explain it a little bit, why she wouldn't know that. But also, you said, because it's, you know, how far away the thing might be to whether she can tell it's going to happen or not. And if you think about it, in the episode Bushwhacked, when she was feeling that guy that was the Reaver guy, she could feel instantly at that moment what was going on. There was no spread of time. Like, she didn't know beforehand he was going to be a certain way. But then when it came to Out of Gas, or Out of Gas, or whatever one, where there was a bit of time and she knew something was going to happen, it was like maybe it gets further and further out to where she can sense something. Like, at first it was like, had to be
like her ability
really close in time, and
stronger.
Yeah, like she can sense it a little further out and a little further out.
Because maybe the longer she is stuck in the state that she's in, the stronger, like, the ability becomes.
Well, they said it's getting worse, right?
Right.
Like,
Well,
at the
that's true,
beginning of
too,
the episode.
Oh, it was Out of Gas. So I was like, how did she not know that everything was going to work out fine?
Right.
And that could have been too far at that time. But at the same time, when she knew the fire was coming, it was a little before the fire even got there, which is more time than there with other guys. So it could be just spreading out to where she can see further and further in advance.
But it's a mind fuck, because what she did would prompt his decision to make that call to turn him in.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah, because she
The Butterfly Effect.
Right. She was the creator
Which
of
is
her
a
own.
great movie.
Yeah, she was the creator of her own problem. Like, she set it all in motion, knowing that it was going to happen, where she could have not done anything and it would have been fine.
True.
I don't know.
Was
I think she sucks.
Pretty much your comment, though, about like similar to what I said, though, about that scene.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyways, Jayne leaves the screen from talking to the marshal, walks back to the morgue. Simon and River wake up. River does wake up first. And she
said something. I rewound it and put the captions on, but it said something about kissing, or
I thought she said something about copper. I thought she said copper.
Yeah, she said something about copper and kissing, and I was like, what?
Let us know in the comments. Because we did the same thing. We're like, what'd she say? And we rewound it and we put the subtitles on and it said mumbling.
Yeah.
We're like, oh.
Well, all the time.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know. I think she said something copper too, which could be in reference to the police.
Oh, yeah.
Copper?
Yeah.
Oh, like a...
Not like copper, like
I was thinking the metal.
Like old, mobster speak.
Okay.
Yeah. The coppas are coming.
The coppas?
Yeah, I put River woke up, says some shit.
Literally.
And so while they're waking up and she seems fine coming out of it, Simon is like coughing and struggling kind of coming out of it. And Jayne's like, why are you having a problem? She seems to be doing just fine. Then also cuts to Zoe and Mal like going down the hallway, leaving the morgue, and a doctor kind of stops them and is like, hey, like, where are you guys going?
Douchebag.
Yeah, and they're like, oh, to the morgue. And he's like, the morgue's that way. And
that guy is like an actor I've seen in a million things.
I was going to say, he did look really familiar.
Oh, yeah.
I wish I had a look at the actor list. He's probably a douchebag because he sucked. But also I relate, because I feel like if a salesperson was like, I'm going to service is that way. So I get it. Maybe I'm the doctor at heart.
Right.
Where are you going?
Wait, what? So anyways, there's a lot of kind of like back and forth, jumping back and forth between scenes. Like, there's just like quick little blurbs of Mal and Zoe obviously dealing with what they're dealing with, and then Jayne, River, and Simon like heading towards so Simon and River and Jayne are going through like the recovery ward. And while they're going through the recovery ward, River has one of those moments where, like, she knows something's about to happen. She, like, predicts it or whatever, right? They go by a guy that's on a table that's, like, struggling, and a doctor's working on him. And she's like, that guy's gonna kill him. And Simon's like, no, it's okay. Like, let's keep on going. And then, like, seconds later, as they, like, walk by, the guy, like, flatlines. Her and Simon both kind of react, but she stays. Simon runs over and just, like, becomes a doctor. Like, he works there. And the guy's like, who are you?
Yeah.
And Simon's like, what did you do? Give me this, this, and this. Like, let's go. Does a bunch of stuff.
Use the paddles.
Yeah.
His heart going. The guy's like, well, he's still choking. He's like, well, at least his heart's still beating.
Right. And
Mm.
Simon brings him back, no problem. And then, like, gives the dude shit.
Right.
Right? Which I think is kind of funny because Simon just, like, walked in out of
Because
nowhere.
apparently the guy, they just did, like, open heart surgery or something.
Yeah, because...
And the guy wanted to reopen his chest right there in the middle of the room. Like, everybody's around.
In the whole recovery ward, like...
All these people everywhere.
Yeah. Like, let's just do it right here. Let's go.
And I was like, fuck no. But the guy, he's like, what did you give him? He's like, I gave him whatever it was.
Yeah.
And he's like, but you didn't give him, which is what he shot into his
Yeah.
face. He's like, but you forgot to give him this, and it only works if you don't do this, it'll kill him.
Right.
And he's like, be a fucking doctor, and he handed him back a stethoscope because
Yeah.
he took that off of him.
Yeah, he just took it off of him. He was like, I got it. Right? Which, again, I think plays into the whole Simon having balls this episode.
Yeah.
Because, like, he just fucking steps up and just goes to it. It's like...
And Jayne looked like he was impressed by this.
Right. But I think it's interesting, too, this scene. While it was cool, I liked the scene as well. He had really no reason to do it. Unless he just did it
He's
like,
a doctor.
Well, I
Like,
know.
he needs that.
Well, that and the fact that River probably would have continued to freak the fuck out.
I was going to say, I think he did it mostly for River.
Mm-hmm.
Because, like...
But he did take an oath. Well, whatever the oath is.
Yeah.
You're not a doctor. What's the oath?
Well, I am a doctor, actually. Changing my mind. But
I've decided. I now identify as a doctor.
The funny thing about that, like, I agree with all that stuff, but, like, the selfish part of me was like, what a perfect cover. No one's going to question you if you fix shit and be like, what the fuck are you doing? Why don't you go back to training and just walk off?
Even though the guy didn't know, because he's like, who
Yeah,
the hell are
yeah.
you? But he
There's
knew
like,
everything to do. And he did
what
it
the
right.
fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
Giving him pseudomenafol after his fucking open heart surgery with his BPAP and BB-boop-bop R2D2.
All doctors.
Gets your shit together and he gives him a stethoscope and walks away. And I'd be like,
yeah,
he's right.
No one would think that he didn't belong there. That's true.
I thought about that as well. Anyways, good scene.
No question at all. Get your shit together, bro.
Simon, River, and Jayne are heading to like the examination room for River, right? And it cuts back and forth, so I'm not going to keep cutting back and forth, but that's what they're doing this whole time. Mal and Zoe, it cuts back to them at one point, and they deal with the doctor that they've encountered.
Zoe was funny on that one.
Yeah, Zoe did like typical shit Zoe would do, right? In this scene where Mal and the doctor are talking to each other.
He's always the distractor.
questioning them, and is like, hey, like, let me see your badges. You can see in you can see in Zoe's face that they're figuring out a plan on how to deal with this doctor. She kind of goes around the corner and sneaks up behind the doctor while Mal's talking to him, and out of nowhere, she taps him with something.
The paddles.
And he drops to the ground, and she, like, picks him up. She goes,
a defibrillator.
Yeah. Good job, Doc. They take care of the doctor, and they carry on, make it to the room that they were trying to get to with all the supplies in it. They can't get in with their badges that I guess they were like makeshift badges. I don't know what they were.
I thought this was a really weird scene because they scanned their badge, they put their thumb on it,
thumbprint,
and then it wouldn't work. And then at one point, after Zoe tries hers too, she's like, "Oh, they must have gotten demagnetized." So then Mel's like, "Oh, we got the doctor," because they put the doctor in one of the pods,
which I figured they would use his ID and then take his thumb and put it, but Mal just uses his thumb and it works, and it's like, what? That doesn't make any sense.
What if it's just like a touch screen?
I feel like
they literally put their thumb on it. You do the badge and then thumb. And
when your touchscreen isn't working very well, you put a big old point.
But I feel like this is like past
high security.
Oh, my bad, guys. Y'all know how it works, and I don't.
You know how, like, in some movies I'm thinking about right now, like an eye scan, like you'll put in a pin, but then it like still scans your eyes, your
or if it's a fucking when you can't.
You have to thumbprint scan to get to Disney World.
It's not a thumbprint scan. I'm saying, like, have you ever seen me not been able to answer my phone because it won't pick it up?
Yes. Right.
It's just a
Right.
shitty
It's
scanner.
your thumb. If I
Yeah.
did my thumb on your phone, it would be like, what the fuck you doing, girl?
Yeah. But this is also a high. This is like, I feel like a high security room because it's full of all their medical supplies.
Maybe so.
So
it's weird that he could use
I feel
somebody
like
else's badge.
So anyways,
we do
they
it
get
with
into
our
the
phone.
room. Zoe and Mal start rummaging through all the supplies and like loading up the little body pods that they had.
It written on
And
his
yeah,
arm.
at one point, Mal, you could see like because Simon told them like all the stuff that they really needed to get right, so they just focus on that. So he like has it all written on his arm. So they're gathering all the supplies while they're in there.
It made me laugh because before I had like a phone mount on my bike, that's how I do directions. I would have a left arrow or a right arrow and a street name. And I would look at my sleeve and
That's funny.
that was it.
So
Sounds right.
Yeah, just but I made it.
and then it cuts back over to, of course, Simon, Jayne, and River in the examination room, and Simon starts to examine her like whole body, which is a cool like piece of equipment thing that they have.
Right, that whole holographic
like
body
on top
and
of
then
her
the brain.
Mhm.
He could move it, you know.
and just see every like point of.
This is my favorite part. I was so excited about this part because it erases her skin, her bones, and it's just her brain. And Simon goes, and he's like looking at it. I swear, like I heard it in my head. He said, her medulla oblongata. That's why she can't brush her teeth.
Brush her teeth? What are you talking about?
From the water boy.
Not seen the water boy.
Oh my gosh, I was laughing so hard inside. I was like, that's what he's about to say. She can't brush her teeth. She's so ornery. She won't have a toothbrush. That's what I expected. Oh. Yep.
Dude, our viewers are gonna fucking beat my ass over the amount of movies I've not seen. If we do get popular, I'm gonna be like Ash on Morbid, and they're gonna fucking rip me a new one and be like, I can't believe Jamison had that.
Well,
but we established it right in the beginning, so it shouldn't be a shock.
right.
It's not a fucking shock. I told you, told you right at the beginning. So Simon starts inspecting her brain to figure out what the fuck they did to it. And he is like, oh, okay, I see. Well, he's like, they cut into her brain like multiple times.
Right.
It's like, why would they do that? And then he finally finds that they stripped out her, how do you say it? You just said it, Doc.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Her amygdala.
Her amygdala. Which is like the filter of the brain, which I think is also kind of like your subconscious in a way, I guess.
It was like her receptor.
No,
Pain,
it's
feelings.
her ability to kind of push back feelings and different stuff.
Right. So it's made her incredibly empathetic.
Yeah. Where she can
Which is going back to, this is the part where I was going to talk about before, but I had to get to this point. So we talked about or whether she can, if she has premonitions and can see in the future, she really can't. She just feels.
Yeah, she picks up on it.
Whatever people are putting out.
She can't push it to the back of her brain.
Yeah. So she's not reading the future. She can just sense and feel.
Yeah. I think I have her issue.
Which is like one of the times that I thought, why doesn't she know what this woman's up to? Was when Saffron was there. Why didn't she pick up on that Saffron was a bad chick? Because if she's just picking up on emotions and feelings and can read people really well, because she's super empathetic, why didn't she pick up on that? But she's not really seeing the future. She's just picking up on feelings. So
disagree.
No, that's exactly what it is. He said that she feels everything.
Yeah.
So how'd she know about the fire?
I fucking don't know. It doesn't fit, but
that's what I'm saying. That's why I say I disagree.
Maybe there's more to it. Maybe a lot of it does have to do with that, but maybe they did do other stuff to her.
To be sure, it has to do with that.
Yeah.
Well, I'm just going on what he said.
But we still don't know everything that they did to her. So maybe they did do something else because they were going to use her for something.
Right.
Maybe they did give her some type of ability.
And why do they want to do that?
The funniest part about all of this is I've seen Serenity. I know I have at some point. And it's locked away somewhere that I don't remember at all. I swear I know the answer, and I just don't remember the fucking movie.
5 more weeks.
When I watch that movie, I'll be like,
4 more
oh,
weeks.
yeah.
That would so make sense. Is it all the same people in that movie? Okay, question was that.
Maybe.
How do you not remember?
Babe, I'm
You don't
charged.
remember any single detail about that movie?
No,
How the fuck? How?
I don't know. It was a while ago.
Oh, by the way, something I also didn't realize till the second time I watched it. Shepard's not in this episode at all.
Not at all.
And I remember partway through, I was like, where the fuck's Shepard? But it wasn't until the second time that I realized that they mentioned that Shepard was dropped off at some abbey.
Yep.
Yeah.
And this was actually one of the only episode, or it was the only episode where the 7 were not present. Because even River on that one episode,
She had a bleep little.
she went,
Yeah.
and then it was gone. And I was like, thank God.
I wonder why he wasn't there. Nothing in the IMDb as to why he wasn't on the show.
It didn't say why he wasn't. It just said that was the only episode where all 7 of them.
Because even in the last one, Zoe, who was going on a honeymoon, like you said, was at least in it a little bit.
Yeah.
Yeah, just second. So,
Right.
So, anyways, they're scanning her brain, whatever, and then all of a sudden River screams, of course, as she does. And Jayne's like, immediately like covers her mouth.
Right.
And they kind of shut down the whole thing.
Well, right before that, Jayne was like, okay, dude, we got to go. And the doctor was like, that's 20, we still have 20 minutes. He's like, no, change the plans. While you were out, we decided to change the plans. And then she screamed, which of course made it more like, okay, yeah, now we got to get out of here.
Which,
she saw her own brain, I guess, because she opened her eyes and saw, I guess she saw the brain. She was like,
or was it that, or was it the fact that Jayne mentioned that, hey, we gotta go, and it was a change of plans, and she picked up on the fact that,
I think she picked up on the fact
we're
that,
fucked because Jayne's about to screw us over.
Right, I think she knew that something
I
bad.
think that's what it is.
Important fact, Jayne felt bad. Like, that's what I picked up from that.
At
Like,
that point.
Simon was like, they kept, like, cutting her brain, and
He
Jayne's
have a
like,
look on his face of compassion, which
Yeah,
was
like
weird.
empathy.
we gotta go. That's what changed his mind.
Oh, no. That isn't what changed his mind.
What changed his mind?
He knew he had to meet the feds.
Yeah, he was on a time crunch. Because I think he set up with them, like, okay, we're going to meet here.
Oh, completely thought it the other way. I thought he changed his mind, and he's like, we gotta go. I don't want to do this anymore.
No. He was like, because he made that because it was 20 minutes early they were supposed to leave. And he was like, I need to make sure they're picked up so I can get out of here.
Oh, that kind of makes sense.
Yeah,
Okay.
So do that a little earlier. Yeah.
I like to think of Jayne as changing his mind at that moment. That made me feel
He
better.
didn't change his mind until later.
Yeah.
When it affected him.
Right.
So
yes, they go to leave, and they start to haul ass out. They were going to go one way, but Jayne was like,
later.
no,
That's later.
Mhm.
Oh, it is later?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay, sorry.
They leave, but they go towards the back of the hospital, and it's just this weird, like, stairway. It's all nice with plants and shit, and there's a stairwell here, and then there's that.
We don't see that really yet. They, like, are walking down the hallway, open the door, and as soon as they get to that area, like, stairways on both sides, plants, whatever, it's like, we're the Alliance, you're under arrest. Right. The Alliance starts to walk down the stairs.
Simon River Trail.
They say their full names and everything. So as the Alliance is arresting River and Simon, Jayne kind of like, starts to talk to the marshal and is like, okay, so what about my cut kind of thing? And he's like, oh, you're also under arrest because you helped in like aiding the fugitives or whatever.
Right. Now this is my continuity era.
What the fuck?
Error. Keep saying era.
But yeah, I saw that online too.
The continuity error here is so when they go out and those guys, the feds come down, they arrest and they put Simon and River in handcuffs. And then one guy comes over while he's talking to the captain from the Alliance. There's another guy cuffing him behind his back. He's acting like, oh, we're just playing this off. When do I get my money? And the guy's like, oh, you're not getting your money. I'm getting the money. And he's like, why? He's like, because now I got three people because you did whatever. And so then Jayne goes to go after the guy, and some other guy shoots the air raid gun at him. And when he does, he falls back, and his arms go like this. And he lands with his arms free and no cuffs. Was that in the continuity error in the IMDb?
So that's one of them.
Oh, okay.
Have you all seen the movie Total Recall? No, wait, that's not it. What's the movie with Tom Cruise? Where he's Minority Report.
Oh, okay. A long time ago.
Sick movie.
Yeah, I've totally seen that movie.
She has not seen that movie.
Where they have the guns and they like chook them and they're like sound blasts.
Uh-huh.
That's the guns they had.
Oh, okay.
I thought that was really cool.
Oh, all right.
But they didn't do like the choo-choo-choo. It was just like
is it
sound
just
waves.
air blowing at them really
I
hard.
thought that part was really cool. And also Minority Report.
It's like a way to stun somebody without like
killing them.
Right. Like a
Correct.
stun gun. I said he's also arrested for aiding fugitives. Fucking idiot. Anyway, okay, so then it cuts to Zoe and Mal getting back to the ship, and Mal questions where the others are, obviously, because they're
Right.
like, okay, it's been a certain amount of time, where the fuck are they?
Well, at that point, they all should have been there at the same time.
Right.
The way it worked out.
The way that they planned it all out.
Right.
It cuts back over to Simon, Jayne, and River, and they're all kind of like sitting together in like a room with the Alliance people, and Simon starts appreciating Jayne for everything that he had done because he like attacked the guard and this, that, whatever. Simon's not understanding, obviously, that like Jayne set this all up. He doesn't know that.
Right. And he didn't attack the guard at this point. He was just like
to go after.
He was like, if they didn't have guns, I think you would have taken them all and done it.
Mm-hmm.
And really pumping up Jayne in a way not.
Yeah.
It's kind of funny how it's being done because Jayne's like, yeah, whatever.
Yeah. And Jayne, of course, starts like figuring out like, okay, how are we going to get out of here? He's trying to make a plan in his head. And then River starts talking about Christmas.
Yeah.
And like goes on this whole fucking thing about Christmas and coal and like
closet. Don't go in the closet.
Don't go in the closet.
Ruins Christmas or something.
Yeah, I don't fucking know. She's just saying shit. And Jayne's like, can you shut up or I'm gonna make you shut up, right? So and then it cuts back over to everybody at the little helicopter, and Wash like phones to Kaylee at the Firefly and is like, hey, can you pick up on like anything? Is there any like emergency signals like going out that you could pick up on? And Kaylee's like, no, I don't see anything. She can kind of,
I know.
I loved picking that part up. I was like, yep, I get it.
Geese.
Yeah. So she doesn't see anything about a signal, but then I guess she can like kind of listen in.
Well, there was
Yeah.
no
Like
signal in the hospital.
Like a
There was
police
nothing going
scanner.
on in the hospital. She checked the hospital. She's like, no, there's no security weirdness going on in the hospital. But
I guess,
I'm
like,
picking up some chatter with the Alliance or something out there.
Yeah.
And she's like, they're talking about ducks. And Mal's like, that's code.
Yeah.
So they want to bring up. So Mal, they put their comms in, and Mal put his in his left ear. In real life, Nathan Fillion has been deaf in his left ear since 1977, which would have made him about 5 or 6 years old.
That's
I
a
don't know
cool
why
fun
he's
fact.
I don't know why he's deaf, but
Interesting.
I saw it
That's kind of funny.
I wonder why he did that.
That's not funny. No.
I mean, it's not funny, but it's funny that he put it on that ear.
Nerd.
Well, it's probably because he didn't want to fill up the hole in the other ear. We can't hear
Yeah, that's
shit.
true. Then he won't be able to hear anything.
That's a cool fact. Yeah.
Okay, so yeah, they put on the little thing so they can talk to each other, and then they head back in to go.
Well, Mal's like, something's wrong. We got
something's wrong. We got
Yeah, and you also wanted the schematics so they could go in through the back.
right. So this is another part where Simon grows some balls because the
Right.
Alliance guy says, I think he just brings up the fact about going to another room,
Right?
right?
He's like, get up, we're going somewhere else.
And Simon like gets up, gets in his face, and like goes on like this whole thing about
Oh, yeah, like you can shoot me or you can answer my question.
right.
Right. The people above you who want us obviously want us alive. So you can either answer my question about what's going to happen to us,
Yeah.
or you can shoot me. And the guy was
Right.
like, "We're just going to take you to another room."
And dude's like, I mean, yeah, and dude's like, well, you said it yourself. They want you alive, dumbass.
Yeah.
I'll tell you, we're taking you over there, okay? It's not a big
It
deal.
really wasn't as big a deal.
And Simon goes,
Which
that's what I fucking thought.
Which is kind of funny that, of course, like this would be one of the moments that he does like grow some balls because it's like over nothing really.
Right.
But he's like trying to be this big stand-up guy.
Yeah.
Okay, Mr. Doctor.
Yeah.
But yeah, so they transfer them to like a holding area until the other people come to get them.
Yeah.
Is what they were doing.
Trying to. Yeah.
So they take them to the room, or they're escorting them to the room.
Like
and it's
in
just
between room.
Yeah,
There's 2 guards. Yeah.
Yeah, and there's just 2 guards with them, and because, of course, there's just 2 guards and 3 of them, Jayne and Simon start fighting the guards, which in this moment, I think it's funny, because Simon has, like, no issue fighting off...
Throwing down.
Yeah,
Yeah.
but I think he also knows, because of being a doctor, like, oh, I can just kind of, like, knock him out by suffocating him kind of a little bit. But
Right.
Jayne's
They do
going
the-
back and forth with the
Yeah.
other guy, like, struggling to, like,
That-
knock this guy out.
Yeah, bit his
Which-
hand and shit.
Right there.
And they stay quiet. He's like,
Yeah. He's like,
Yeah. But I just thought it was funny because, of course, Jayne's more of the fighting guy, And
Right.
it was such a struggle for him to like get this guy under control.
Right.
And then
Oh,
Simon's
yeah,
just
yeah,
like,
yeah.
man.
But yeah,
that
it
was a
is
good
funny. I didn't
one.
even think about that. And it's funny that he had to go through this huge struggle. And they're both handcuffed at the same
Right.
time.
Yeah.
And being that Jayne is so much bigger and much of a fighter
Yeah.
than Simon is.
I'm
it
surprised
is
I'm
funny.
the only one that picked up on it. But
Yeah, I
I
didn't
picked
think
up on it
about it.
almost immediately. I'm like, Simon literally like pretty much knocked his guy out, and then the guy kind of tried to come back, and then he just put a knee on him
Yeah.
and suffocated him. And then Jayne's over here like back and forth, like
Yeah.
rolling, like
He
just
eventually has to
struggling
break
so
his neck.
much.
just
Yeah,
to
yeah.
get it to
So
end.
that's the thing is, Simon's dude was still alive.
Yeah.
Jayne killed his dude.
No, I know, but
Right.
it's still funny the struggle between the two, considering the people's like
Who's who
personality and
yeah.
ability to fight people. You know.
But I also feel like Simon's very desperate because I feel like he wants to stay on the ship. Like that, he likes it there. He likes all the people. He really wants to stay on the ship. It's probably the safest place for him and his sister. And I feel like him just being super ballsy in this episode is just him desperately wanting to, one, stay on the ship, and two, fix his sister, which will also help him stay on the ship.
Yeah. So anyways, it then cuts to Wash and Kaylee like helping the Zoe and Mal get through the building. Like they're communicating to each other, and Mal says something to Wash about, I guess, like reinforcements or whatever. And Wash is like, oh, well, I think it's too late. Reinforcements are here.
Oh yeah, Mal's. They're running through, and Mal's like, "God, I just wish we could have a plan that worked out one time without a bunch of fucking shit happening."
Yeah.
And of course,
Just
Zoe.
want easy money.
Zoe's like, "It always seems to be that way, sir." Like,
Yeah.
it's her funny way of always responding
Always
to him.
have, yeah.
And then Wash was like, "You guys want to hurry it up? You gotta get down there quick." And they're like, "Why?" And he's like, "Because reinforcements."
Yeah,
are showing up."
reinforcements are here. Which I think the reinforcements may have just been the two guys, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
So anyways, cuts back to the other three. They get out of their handcuffs, and Jayne and Simon argue on which way to go. This is when they start to argue about that, because Jayne's like, let's go this way. There's only 2 guards, or six guards, but I can take care of them.
Deal with them.
Yeah, he's like, it's fine, even though I just struggled with one.
With his plunger gun.
Right, with the plunger gun. And then Simon's like, no, let's just go this way. So those guys show up with the Alliance Marshal. They're talking about, like, the whole situation, and the Marshal talks about, like, yeah, I talked to them, blah, 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 and all of a sudden the one guy's like, wait, you talked to them? And he's like,
Yeah, because the
like,
girls.
I didn't do your job
he
for
was
you.
like, I didn't interrogate them. There's, like, no interrogation, but, like, yeah, I spoke to them. And then fucking Man in Black
Darth
shit.
Maul.
That I was gonna ask. Anybody else think that Men in Black thing
Oh,
was gonna go
immediately.
happen? I thought they were just gonna like, okay, now you play basketball in the courtyard on a Saturday or whatever.
But it was the same kind of vibe. I was like, we're gonna bring fucking
Damn.
Men in
All right.
Black
But I
into
do
it.
have something to say about this because when he pulled out the little, why doesn't it affect them?
But that's an easy question. They have like a pill they take or like earplugs that
The
don't
blue gloves.
fucking.
Yeah, the blue
Yes,
gloves.
the gloves.
But yes, when it happened the second time, I literally wrote down, why does this thing work on other people but not on them?
There's a million reasons why I wouldn't.
Whatever.
They could literally shave their hair a certain
way.
A certain way. Yeah.
Whatever. Anyways, the blue glove guys kill the fucking Alliance.
Everybody.
Yeah, they kill everybody. They're like, oh, you've seen too much.
That was my Darth Maul reference, though.
What was?
What's your Darth Maul reference?
Pew pew, and a little double-sided lightsaber
yeah.
you pulled on them.
Oh, your Star Wars reference.
My
This
Star
block
Wars.
being brought to you by Star Wars.
Then we go back to River, Simon, and Jayne trying to figure out which way to go. And that's when they hear all the commotion. They're like, oh, what the fuck's going on? And that is when River freaks out and is like, oh my god, they're here.
Right.
Which is her being like, oh, the guys with the blue gloves are here.
Same, because they're like, bah!
Yeah.
Right.
Like, it's a very painful experience, whatever
the
they're
sound
doing.
is coming in the direction that Jayne wants to go in.
Right.
So Jane's like, maybe
like,
we'll go the other way.
That way.
Yeah. River is like, you guys are just going to fucking follow me. Because she, at that point,
Right.
like, picks up on everything. And she, I guess, has a sense of, like, which way to go.
She knows the floor
She
plan,
knows
I guess.
how to do it. I don't fucking know. So then they just go to take off after her. And then at another scene, too, Jayne questions, of course, going that way. And then he hears more shit. And he's like, oh, never mind.
That was
keep
the
on
second
following
room
her.
that Simon left that dude alive. And
Right,
they
right,
killed him with the little Darth
Yeah,
Maul
and
thing,
that's
too.
when
They came up on them,
That's when
yeah.
they...
And this is where the second continuity
Okay.
error comes in. So they go in, they leave that area, they go down the hall, they're following her. They get to this, they open a door, and it's this big, open, empty room, metal room, basically. And that's when they're walking through, and he says, I don't want to feel like I'm a rat in a maze, and how we even know which way she's going is correct and whatever. And he's like not sure about what to go. But when they're walking that door, I'm like, close that door, because Why leave it open? But he hears more of the screaming because they find the other guy and they kill him. So he's like, okay, they go off and then they go. And then when those two guys end up in that room, the door was closed. They had to open that door to get into it.
So yeah, they get to another room at this point, and there's like a bunch of stairs that they have to go down. And they get down to one door, and River's like, "That's the door we need to get through." And Jayne's like, "Okay, I got it." And of course, it's probably another one of those doors that's like a security door, because obviously they can just like go through.
Right.
And Jayne's like, "All right, I'll use this fucking air gun to try and break it open." And of course, it doesn't do anything. So then he's like, all right. And he's just going to like beat the shit out of the door practically and try and like break the latch off of it so that they can get through. So he's like beating the fucking door. And while he's beating the door, of course, Blue Gloves like start to get to like catch up to them, right?
Yeah, it gets to where it's back and forth.
Yeah, it's back and forth and they're getting closer and closer. And then, of course, in this moment, we were sitting there and I'm like, all right, Zoe Mal, where are you at? And of course, from the other side of the door, they like shoot off the latch and everything and open the door. And of course, it's Zoe and Mal.
Right.
And they
Mal didn't even say words like.
Yeah, just like, well, let's go.
It's taking you so long.
All right, like what the fuck?
One thing I also want to bring up that I forgot to bring up before with the Blue Glove guys.
No.
In that scene,
But really, that was the CIA.
yeah, well, because in that scene, because we've discussed it before, and the first time we saw the Blue Glove guys, we were like, are they part of the Alliance? What's the hierarchy?
I was bring this up again, too, because it's like, if they're killing the Alliance Marshal, they're clearly something else.
Yeah.
But, like, what?
Yeah, because that was our discussion before. Like, are they about, like, this? Because you said they're like the CIA and the Alliance is like the Army.
Mm-hmm.
But clearly, in this, I feel like there's something else. Like, they're not part of the Alliance, or they're in such a high part of the Alliance that a lot of the Alliance people don't even understand what their existence is for.
Doing, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Because they just zapped and killed all of those guys, and it's like they don't give a fuck about the Alliance people.
No.
They're above the
and
Alliance.
And they're so odd, too. Like, the way that they talk and they move. Like, especially the guy that, when we first saw the Blue Glove guys, the other guy spoke more. Like, the guy with the weird nose. This
the
time...
bald dude?
Well, there was, in the scene that
he's like a lighter-haired guy.
Yeah. He's got a bigger nose. He was sitting down in the first one. The other guy was standing up in the first time we ever saw them.
But this time, it was that other guy. And that guy is very, like, you can tell by his body language.
It's robotic.
Yeah, he's very robotic feeling.
Bald dude is, like, sketchy.
Yeah.
I would not want to meet him anytime after 6 o'clock at night.
Yeah.
I do not want to interact with him.
They are very odd. I hope we figure out, like, in the...
Well, I'm hoping in the movie all this stuff gets...
Yeah.
We'll see.
Sometime.
Right, we'll all see. Anyway, so yeah, they take off through the door, and of course, by the time like the Blue Glove guys get there, they look down. The door's open, but nobody's there. They're gone. So, anyways, right. So they all end up back on the ship. Of course, Kaylee is walking with Inara and asking her like how everything went. And Inara's like, "Oh, how'd it go for you?" And she's like, "Oh, well, we did this, and we killed Simon and River, and blah 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 blah." And she kind of like says everything that they did, but in like a very like nonchalant, like woo kind of way.
Kind of like that one episode was like, "Oh, it's just crime.
Yeah,
we're doing crime or whatever."
Yeah. And the helicopter, pulls back into like the little bay area. Everybody like rolls out. I can't remember who it was. I don't know. Somebody started to ask them about like whatever, right? And again, Simon starts admiring Jayne and like everything that he did to help them, and like, "Oh, you should have seen him. Like that shit was crazy." I put "fuck him" parentheses Jayne. Everybody starts to kind of like just go back to like whatever, right? And
but Jayne's like, "Oh yeah, it was nothing. But you're part of the crew."
Yeah, he's just bullshit with them, right? And it ends up just being Jayne and Mal like in the area, and they're just kind of like they're getting all the supplies, and they're gonna put it in like the little cubby hole that they hide stuff in. And while they're doing that, Jayne's like, "Oh, what are you gonna do with your cut of the money that we make off of this stuff?" And then all of a sudden, like comes around the corner. And Mal knocks him the fuck out. And I said, "That's right, bitch." I even said it out loud as we were watching it, but I wrote it down too. And
that's
Mal,
a bonk.
Yeah, he bonked the fuck out.
Oh, yeah.
Since he knocked him out, it goes to the next scene where Jayne is like in a room, and we don't know exactly, I guess, what it is initially. But it's the back end of like the ship, like between the door and then like the door that comes down that they can get out of.
It's a cargo bay.
Yeah, the bay doors.
He's in there. Mal is on the other side, and he like holds a thing up to like the window, and it's a walkie-talkie.
Walkie-talkie.
And Jayne realizes that he has a walkie-talkie as well, so they start talking to each other. And, of course, Mal knows, like, you called the fucking feds, like, fuck you, blah, blah, blah. It's going through, like, this whole spiel, like, if you're gonna fuck me over, do it to my face, like, all this other stuff. Like, obviously, Mal knows why it happened the way it did, like, why were you at the back of the hospital or whatever, like, you picked up on that, which I'm like, he could have ended up there in any way.
Jayne's reason for being back there is a good enough reason, technically.
Right.
Like, some shit went down, we had to go
the other way.
I improvised. I had to go another way.
Right, which,
But
yeah,
Mal
I don't
just knew, though.
Yeah, I feel like Mal just had that instinct where he was probably halfway bluffing, and he
Possibly,
knew Jen
yeah.
would say.
But no, he was like, we had a plan, you didn't fucking stick to it, so I know you did something, right? And he starts to, like, open the back of the door, so threatening, like, okay, as soon as we take off, you're gonna get sucked out of that fucking hole and you're gonna be gone. Like,
Yeah.
I'm done with you, fuck you, blah, 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 whatever. I will say, I don't know if anybody else picked up on this, I knew Mal wasn't gonna follow through at this moment.
Of course.
So I knew 100% because I know based on, like, other way. My biggest thing is I refer back into my head. Every time Mal talks about killing people, he always refers to, like, if I'm going to do it, I'm going to do it to somebody's face.
Hmm.
And that, I feel like him just letting Jayne get sucked out the back isn't close enough, straightforward.
They were
like,
looking at each other.
but it's not that, I feel like Mal would make it 100% like, just shoot you point blank. I feel like he'd rather be that type of person than just, like, walking away and just letting him get sucked out the back. It's not close enough
I
contact
knew it wasn't
for
going to
him.
happen because, you know, the show would have been weird if Jayne were.
Well, yeah.
I mean, just
But-
in terms of as a viewer, you know he's not going to kill him.
Yeah.
But he was just waiting for a moment in which Jayne, there was some sort of repentance. Because when he said the one thing, that's when Mal decided, I don't want to steal your glory.
It's okay, go ahead.
That's when Mal decided to hit the button.
Mhm.
But basically, because at first he was like, I wouldn't do that. I swear on God that I wouldn't have done that. I wouldn't have, done this. I didn't. And he's like,
He was still trying to bullshit. He
Right,
wanted
in the
him to
beginning.
100%, like, own up to, like,
right,
what he did and the fact that he did it.
right. But the
And
fact
kind of
that,
why he did it, maybe?
yeah, well, he said why, because of
Well,
the
yeah.
money and whatever. And that's when Mal was like, you turned them in, you're turning me in.
Right.
And all of that. And he's like, I can't trust
Yeah.
you.
Oh, yeah, because
Right.
Mal said the whole thing, too, like, because Jayne was like, oh, well, I was doing it against them, not you. And he's like, well, it's
Right.
my fucking crew, so if it's them, it's also me.
Right, which it goes back to the thing we talked about earlier, referring to whether he would ever do this or not anyway, because what we were talking about.
Mhm.
But when Mal walked away, Jayne had that moment where Jayne was more worried about, he was like, what are you going to tell everybody about me being dead?
Right.
And Jayne's like, I know, Mal's like, I haven't thought that far. And Jayne's like, make something up. Don't
Yeah.
tell them what I
He didn't
did.
want to be
Don't
a rat.
want to-
Yeah, don't tell them what I did.
Yeah.
And even though I feel like he's more worried about his reputation and it's kind of selfish, for some reason Mal took it as not wanting to be known that way means that he cares about what
Deep down, there's something there that he doesn't want to be
Yeah.
that.
Yeah, he doesn't want to be known to be that person.
Yeah.
So that's when he was like, okay, and he hit the
He
button.
hit the button and the door closed, and he's like, you gonna let me out of here? Can I come back in? And he just walked away,
I thought that part was
which
great.
was funny.
I was like, no.
It's a little tense moment though. I was kind of like, I wasn't sure.
I
how
liked that scene though too because
Yeah.
it was tense. I liked the back and forth and Mal being very.
Yeah, I wasn't sure how I felt about it because
Stern.
I know that Jayne fucked up,
Mm-hmm.
but also at the same time felt bad for Jayne in a way. Like
Mhm.
if Mal had gone through with it, even though I knew he wouldn't go through with it.
Yeah.
But I also at the same time like that quality in Mal, where he's like,
Don't fuck with me.
yeah, don't fuck around.
Well,
yeah.
you believe he would.
Yeah.
Like, it's not out of the realm of possibility that he would just be like, all right, later, bro.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah. Because he would, but I think it gives a good like
But I feel like
stand to be like, okay, fuck with me again, like done.
But if you feel, you would think, and of course next week everything's going to be like, just like getting shot. Oh, no big deal. Because you would think that would cause some tension. Because even though he still did it, and Mal is still going to have a hard time trusting him.
Right.
So you think that in the next episode, there's going to be a weird tension and trust issue there. So it would be interesting to see if that actually continues on in the next episodes.
Or if it's just like a
Just like getting shot. They're fine by the next episode.
Right. But I think there's also that weird, like, understanding and dynamic, though, amongst the crew that I feel like it could just carry on like nothing happened, really.
Right.
So who knows? Anyway, so then after that happens, of course, Mel just walks away, leaves them in the room, and it cuts to the scene where Simon and River are yet again very close to each other. Simon is talking to River and has medicine for her that I guess is gonna maybe help her some with like what she's dealing with.
I don't
Or
know.
no, he said, what did he say? He said,
It's time to wake up.
oh yeah, she's
Yeah,
like,
she
oh,
has,
it's time
like-
to go to sleep again, and he
I
was
know.
like, no, it's time to wake up, and he gives
Which
her.
how does she not know that? How did she not know that's what that was for?
Yeah, it's like
It's
sometimes
so
she
back and
has-
forth with her. Like,
yeah, it
she's
is
a
kind of weird.
dumbass.
I feel like that whole thing is whatever.
yeah, like she should have known that's exactly what he was doing because he's right there, and
Yeah.
she should feel that and
Right.
all that. But
But
Right.
anyway, so yeah,
so, and I don't know how that's gonna fix whatever she's got going on. I mean,
maybe they have some weird sci-fi fucking medicine that brings back
Maybe.
that part of your brain, like it grows it back over some time. I don't know.
or it's a
Or it's a
chemical that
buffer.
it's some kind of a chemical that replicates the same kind of thing that
Yeah,
would do.
Yeah,
Perhaps. I don't know.
Maybe.
possibly.
Does anybody else have any thoughts or anything else you need to add?
Which I feel like, honestly, like, Simon should really more find a medicine that doesn't take it away, because I feel like it's beneficial in some ways. Because just think about if they are stuck in a shitty situation, like, say, like, the fire,
Right.
you know?
What she says, fire a second before the fire's there.
Or, like,
Super
even just-
beneficial.
And
Or just even, like, the Blue Glove guys. She picks up
Right.
every single time they're around. So say they're in some scenario that they think, oh, they're not going to be there, and then all of a sudden they show up, she could be like, hey, they're here, let's fucking go, right? So I feel like it's beneficial in some ways. She just needs to learn how to control it better so she doesn't fucking
She
scream and freak
also needs to know
out.
how to
and-
express it better because not only did she not say fire, there was not enough time really to react, but
Fire.
she said it in a time when he's got candles he needs to blow out. So everybody's thinking
Right.
that she's talking.
yeah.
She should say something's on fire or
Yes.
we're about to blow up.
Right, she needs to actually take it and like,
Put
process
both
it
sentences
quickly.
together.
Yeah, and like say it not as a child, but like as
Right.
like she needs to take like the moments where she has like referring back to like when Simon was like, "Oh, I'm going to give you this medicine," and she's like, "Boop, boop, boop, boop," and gives like the whole medical term for it. Like she needs to just combine those two things
I just wonder
together.
why when they took this thing out of her, which just basically makes it so that she can feel all the emotions, why did it make it so that she couldn't speak well? Why could she not express herself in it
Correctly.
correctly?
But I think it refers back to like what I said before about how like they clearly did other stuff. to
yeah.
her. So
it
like
must have.
maybe.
Give and take, maybe.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I don't know. I think there's just a lot that goes
Me
into
see
it.
future
Yeah.
Yeah.
fire.
Yeah.
She's the Yoda.
Because you also have to think.
Wow.
You have to think
Only
too.
he's-
Right. You have to think too. Like when they do some of the flashback, she has all those things attached to her head.
Yeah.
So it's like they were clearly doing more than just removing that part of her brain. They were like
Right.
doing tests and like who knows, like just fucking shit up.
I can't wait to find out why the fuck they're doing all that.
Yeah.
Like what's that for? Those guys are. Why?
I can't wait to watch the movie again.
That's it for this episode of One Season Wonder. Thanks for listening as we unravel another chapter of Firefly. Make sure to follow and subscribe where you get your podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, Apple, and everywhere else. Got thoughts or favorite moments from Ariel? Hit us up on social media and join the conversation. Don't miss next week's episode when we tackle war stories. Expect even more chaos, betrayal, and Jayne doing, well, Jayne things. As always, keep listening so we don't become a one-season wonder ourselves.